Hey everyone. So where I last left you off is for tutorial 4 with the unrolled surface. This is just a continuation of this previous video for how to then transfer your unrolled surface. Oh my gosh. Where you continue your unrolled surface into the laser cutting template. All right, so you can type in this link to get to the New York City College of Technology Fab Lab website. Just be sure to click on fabrication, laser cutting. It'll take you here and you could download the template. I already downloaded the template. So I'm just going to work from that template and my model here, my little test model that we did in class. So after you unroll your shapes and you make them 2D, what you need to do is copy these exploded lines into that Fab Lab website template. So Control C for copy. So you see it copied to clipboard, and then I'm going to open the other file, and I'm going to do a sample Control V for paste. Just zoom out to look for it, or if you can't see it immediately, all you need to do is type so either select last if it's not selected, and then you punch in zoom, S for selected, and then it'll show you the model, then scroll out and move. If you are so far out that you don't even know where you're at, when you type in move, you could just click a point and then type in 0,0 and it'll take you to the origin. All right, so now the goal is to fill our Bristol sheets of paper with the pieces of the model. All right, so you see, if I check my distance, that this size bed is 32 inches, so I need this to be within the 24 by 18. So just, you could draw a rectangle and then type in 24 and then type 18. And we know that this is our Bristol board sheet. All right, so I'm just going to move this to here. And now I need to fit everything within this boundary. So this is really just the guideline for me. So I'm going to match properties. All right, I'm going to modify this line and I'm going to match this line. All right, so now this is going to show up like a guideline. Now I created this guideline layer on my own. Just make sure that if you do this as well, that it's none of the colors that are read by the laser cutter. All right, so I just did a light gray because none of the other laser cutter functions are light gray. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is change all of these lines into an outer cut layer. As you remember from the walkthrough with the CLT up in the Fab Lab, it's very important for these lines to be changed to be picked up or read by the laser. So you see you have a dark blue, you have a magenta, they have a green, orange, red, those things. All right, so I am going to now grab all of the inner cuts. So these are the holes that are cut inside the model. So if you go to your surface, and you see that there's no surface right here, that means that this piece is an inner cut. Okay, so be sure to make that magenta and change it to the inner cut layer. So I'm just showing the layers, right click on the inner cut layer, and then change object layer. All right, so now I have a nice pink line in there. Okay, the next step would be to take all of the fold lines. So all of the fold lines is everything on the inside of the model that is not cutting a hole and is, not on the outer edge. All right, so just select, you can be a little creative. I selected too much. If you do select too much, just click Control to deselect what you picked. So now that I have all of my inner fold lines selected, you see that they're selected with the yellow. I'm again going to change the layer. So this time I'm going to go to score one way. This way it cuts through half the material. and allows it for a nice, easy, clean fold. And so I right-clicked it. I'm scrolling down to change object layer. So now you see that I have 3 line colors: the outer cuts, the inner cuts, and the folds. All right, next step is to make sure that all of these fit on my Bristol board. You're likely going to use a few sheets of Bristol board, just because we have 6 models to cut. So try to strategically place it within this boundary. I wanted to give a 1/2 inch border so that, sometimes the page doesn't sit too close to the edge inside the laser cutter bed. So I want to make sure that I don't have a piece that gets cut off. All right, so, you be a little strategic. That obviously did not work, so Control Z. Just try and get it to fit as best as you can so that you waste only a little bit of paper. This way you can fit multiple models in one go. All right, but you don't want it to be confusing, so just, again, try your best. Be sure that everything you do is within the 18 by 24 inch Bristol board. Now, if your Bristol board is 19 inches tall, you need to cut off that extra 1 inch. Otherwise, it will not fit in the bed. By bed, I mean the laser bed. All right, so again, I just gave myself a little boundary here. I'm going to match properties of this guideline. Okay. So now that's all fit. And if you wanted to, you can add a piece of text. I'm going to do a 1/4 inch, do 0.25. And I'm just going to put model 01 to label it, put it right here. And I'm going to change this to etch, change object layer. This way it just lightly etches into the space. All right, just keep in mind that the words do take a while. So as the CLT was saying, the more detail you have in this, the longer your prints will take, or the longer the cuts will take. So just be mindful. Try to only do this every now and then. If anything, you could just get rid of the word model and put 01, just to keep it consistent. All right. So that is it. Once you have, as many pieces laid out as possible, you just make sure that you file save as an earlier version of Rhino. So I like to just be safe and save it to Rhino 5, just because the lab opens an older version of Rhino. If you have a newer version of Rhino than what the lab has, it will not work, and they will not be able to print your work. All right, so once you have it here, you're going to save it on your flash drive. If you don't have a flash drive, I can give you one in class on Tuesday. But if you do have a flash drive, then you can start printing before Tuesday if you already get up to this. When I say printing, I mean laser cutting. But if you have your own flash drive, you can do that before we start class on Tuesday, and then you could just impress everyone. If you have any questions about this, just send an email. I'm sure if you have a question, your classmates also have a question, so it would be great to just square that away as soon as we can. All right, thank you so much.